From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.
Good day, this is Dateline Malacañang in review. Demonstrating the administration's continuing partnership with the private sector towards achieving a bagong Pilipinas or New Philippines, Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. joins the Universal Robina Corporation or URC executives in inaugurating its newest flour plant in Sariaya, Quezon on Friday. URC is one of the largest consumer food and beverage product companies in the Philippines with a significant and growing presence in the Association of Southeast Asian Nations or ASEAN. Its flour division or the URC Flour is one of the top flour millers in the country with facilities that manufacture customized products fitting the specific needs of customers. The URC Flour Division Sariaya plant being inaugurated features state-of-the-art flour milling lines with the capacity to mill 1,320 tons of flour per day. During the program, the President led the ceremonial pressing of the baton, signaling the start of plant operations. He also conducted a brief inspection of the facility. Here is Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Exactly 7 decades ago, the Universal Robina Corporation made a promise to delight everyone with good food choices. Day by day, you have carried this until you have become synonymous with Filipino food and beverages that every Filipino family has come to love and enjoy. From all-time favorites such as Blend 45 and our parents drank to perk up their mornings, to the C2 green tea that teens enjoy on a hot day. Hindi lang teens, tayo lahat. And of course, who will forget pretzels that we have all indulged in our time. This only shows the mark that you have made to Filipino culture. Your commitment to producing quality food proves that we can go toe-to-toe with the best in the world. Yet, you have not rested on your laurels. Rather, you have tried to find ways to beat what you have achieved in the past 70 years. And so, today, we are here in Sariaya, Quezon, celebrating another one of your milestones. We are here to mark the inauguration of URC's newest 10-hectare flour milling plant, an achievement that will help shape the future of our food industry. In a time when every grain counts, this establishment will aid in ensuring that our people have the resources they need to nourish themselves and the future of our nation. With this new plant, the URC has positioned itself as a key player in our nation's food security, driving economic stability and innovation. Its capacity and technology will enable us to produce 3,500 metric tons of flour per day, meeting both the growing demands of the local market and the ever-increasing appetite for high-quality food on our tables. But this is not just about numbers. This facility, with its focus on efficiency and sustainability, speaks to our shared responsibility to build a stronger, more resilient future. Our gathering today is a testament to our collective resolve to address the flour production gap and to implement solutions that will respond to the growing demands of our nation. This facility's upgrades will reduce wastage, enhance operations, minimize URC's carbon footprint, and exhibit a firm commitment to innovation and sustainability. It will likewise address the nutritional needs of very many people. Every pandesal that carries us through the morning, every cake that sweetens our celebration, every bowl of noodles that satisfies us are not mere sources of sustenance. They are also the fruits of expertise, dedication, excellence of all involved in their production, including those behind the milling process. We reaffirm our unwavering support for local manufacturers and producers, especially in the vital food and beverage sector as we look towards a more prosperous bagong Pilipinas. This administration acknowledges the critical role you play in advancing our socio-economic growth, boosting farm productivity, supporting MSMEs, and ensuring the food security of our nation. We will continue to create a supportive environment for our partners in the private sector through laws and agreements that promote the interests of both manufacturers and consumers alike. To our friends at the URC, may you continue to be a steadfast partner in supplying high-quality foods, supporting local industries, creating employment opportunities for our fellow Filipinos. May your commitment to product quality and community service resonate through every sack of flour produced in this facility. Thank you, and congratulations to URC in this fruitful endeavor. Mabuhay kayong lahat, mabuhay ang bagong Pilipinas.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Monday broke his silence and fired back at Vice President Sara Duterte's death threat, noting that the issue just blew out of proportion due to the latter's refusal to answer legitimate questions about her office's alleged misuse of funds. In a video message, the president noted that the issue would not have led to this kind of drama if only Duterte answered these questions from lawmakers. President Marcos also said the curses and blatant threats to life made by Duterte are alarming. The chief executive said these remarks have no space in a democratic country like the Philippines and that he would not take these sitting down. This marks the first time the president responded to criticisms made public by Duterte. The Philippine president was responding to the vice president's controversial online statement over the weekend where she threatened to have him, First Lady Liza Marcos, and House Speaker Martin Romualdez assassinated if a purported plot against her were to succeed. Duterte issued a supposed threat while she was at the House of Representatives accompanying her chief of staff, lawyer Zuleika Lopez, who was detained for failing to respond to questions regarding the misuse of funds at the vice president's office during a legislative inquiry. According to the president, all government officials are mandated to protect the Constitution and subject themselves to transparency and accountability. President Marcos said he hopes that these events will end in a peaceful way and with the truth. Let us listen to the message of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Nakakabahala ang mga pahayag na narinig natin nitong mga nakarang araw. Nandyan ang walang pakundangang pagmumura at ang pagbabanta ng planong ipapatay ang ilan sa atin. Kung ganun na lang kadali ang pagplano sa pagpatay ng isang presidente, paano pa kaya ang mga pangkaraniwan na mamamayan? Yang ganyang kriminal na pagtatangka ay hindi dapat pinapalampas. Yan ay aking papalagan. As a democratic country, we need to uphold the rule of law. Ako, bilang pinuno ng Executive Department at lahat ng mga nanunungkulan sa pamahalaan ay may sinumpaang tungkulin na tutupdin at pangangalagaan ang konstitusyon at ang ating mga batas. Kaya hindi tama ang pagpigil sa mga halal ng bayan sa paghahanap ng katotohanan. Hindi na sanang hahantong sa ganitong drama kung sasagutin lamang ang mga lehitimong katanungan sa Senado at sa House of Representatives. Ang katotohanan ay hindi dapat itokhang. Tapos na sana ang usapang ito kung tutuparin lamang ang sinumpaang panata na bilang lingkod bayan ay magsabi ng totoo at hindi hahadlangan. Imbis na diretsahang sagot, nililihis pa sa kwentong chicheria. Hangad ko na matuldukan na itong mga pangyayaring ito sa parang matiwasay at magdadala sa atin sa katotohanan. 12 taon din ako nanungkulan sa magkaparehong kamara ng Kongreso. Batid ko ang kapangyarihan iginawad sa kanila ng taong bayan at ng ating konstitusyon. Dahil dito, iginagalang ko ang kanilang gawain bilang isang independenteng sangay ng ating republika. Kahit ang buong executive branch, lahat ng mga ahensya ay hindi nakakaligtas at parating sumasailalim sa kanilang masusing pagsusuri. Bilang isang bansa, marami tayong mga paghamon na dapat harapin at mga suliraning dapat bigyan ng lunas. Sa kabila ng mga pambabatikos, nakatuon ang aking pansin sa pamamahala. Ngunit, hindi natin ikokompromiso ang rule of law. Kailangan manaig ang batas sa anumang sitwasyon, sino man ang tamaan. Kaya hindi ko hahayaan magtagumpay ang hangarin ng iba na hatakin ang buong bansa sa burak ng politika. Igalang natin ang proseso. Tuparin natin ang batas. Alalahanin natin ang mandato na pinagkatiwala sa atin ng milyon-milyon na Pilipino. Magtrabaho po tayo sa ikauunlad ng Republika ng Pilipinas at para matamo ang bagong Pilipinas.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
Meanwhile, the Philippine National Bureau of Investigation, or NBI, will summon Vice President Sara Duterte as the government mounts an investigation over her kill order against Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. In a palace press briefing Monday, NBI Director Jaime Santiago said the agency has already started investigating the Vice President's online threat. Santiago said the NBI has asked social media giant Facebook to preserve the video for the ongoing investigation, adding that the video was authentic and not artificial intelligence or AI generated. Now that the NBI has concluded its preliminary investigation, Santiago said they are now considering what action they will take against the Vice President as well as the contracted gunman.
Alam niyo po, mandato ng sa NBI ng ating batas, Republica 10867, may primary jurisdiction po ang NBI to investigate threats on the President down to the Chief Justice. So, hindi po namin to tinetake lightly when we receive the video clips nung sinabi nga ni Vice President Sara. Nagkundak ko agad kami ng investigation. First, I directed my cybercrime unit to investigate the authenticity of that video clippings, of that video clip. So, we found out, my investigators found out that the clip is not AI generated, it is not deepfake, it is authentic. So, the next step we do is to write yung platform, happen to be na yung FB, Facebook. So we requested na preservation nung clip. So the Facebook ay kinikip na ang video clip for future reference. Granted na po yung request namin na naka-save na po yun. Now, ang next step namin ngayon is dinedetermine namin whatever action, say criminal or whatever action that we will take against the Vice President, especially the person na sinasabi niya na inutusan na niya para ipapatay si President Marcos, the First Lady, and the Speaker.
Meantime, in the same briefing, Department of Justice or DOJ Undersecretary Jesse Andres said the investigation will be immediate and will be dealt with the full force of the law, considering that the threat involves the life of the highest official of the land. Andres said it is important to know what steps were taken to hire the services of a murderer who is planning to harm the president. He added that the NBI will take all steps to trace the assassin's identity, including the issuance of a subpoena to Vice President Sara to appear before the NBI to clarify her statements.
Dateline Malacañang.
Armed Forces of the Philippines, or AFP Chief of Staff General Romeo Bronner Jr. on Monday strictly instructed all soldiers to remain faithful to the chain of command. This is the message of the AFP chief amid a worsening political conflict wherein the men in uniform were also dragged into the issue. According to Bronner, soldiers should not be affected by political conflict, but focus on performing their duties. Bronner said soldiers should remain true to the Constitution, as well as the Office of the President of the Republic of the Philippines, which serves as their Commander-in-Chief. The AFP made a statement following Vice President Sara Duterte's death threats against President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr., First Lady Liza Araneta Marcos, and House Speaker Martin Romualdez.
Allow me to take this opportunity to remind our soldiers in the armed forces of the Philippines to continue to be professional and competent. In the past days, we have seen a myriad of events that transpired in our country. And this has shaken the political environment of our country. As soldiers, we should not be shaken by this. Hindi dapat tayo maapektuhan ng masama dahil dito. We have just to remind ourselves of the vow, yung panata na ginawa po natin nung tayo ay bagong pasok lamang sa serbisyo. And up to now, in that vow, sinabi po natin that we vow to defend the Constitution of the Philippines. That means that we have to follow the chain of command. So sinabi natin, we are loyal to our country, we are loyal to our flag, we are loyal to our organization, and we are loyal to the Constitution.
Armed Forces of the Philippines AFP Chief of Staff General Romeo Bronner Jr.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Tuesday arrived in the United Arab Emirates, or UAE, for a one-day working visit to strengthen relations with the Philippines. Presidential Communications Office, or PCO, Secretary Cesar Chavez said a plane carrying the president and his trimmed-down delegation arrived in the UAE at 2:06 Tuesday morning. While in the Gulf state, President Marcos will meet with his counterpart, His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, in Abu Dhabi. Agreements between the two countries were signed during the chief executive's visit. The PCO earlier announced that the president would embark on a one-day working visit to the Gulf state on Tuesday with a high purpose of bolstering Philippines-UAE ties. President Marcos Jr.'s accompanying delegation has been trimmed to the barest minimum as he looks to immediately return to Manila to resume his personal supervision and inspection of the relief and reconstruction activities in communities devastated by 6 successive typhoons.
Dateline Malacañang.
Meanwhile, the Philippines and the United Arab Emirates on Tuesday committed to deepening bilateral relations, especially in the economy and trade. In his one-day working visit to the Gulf state, Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. met with the UAE President, His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, and expressed the Philippine government's openness to strengthening economic ties with the UAE. President Al Nahyan, in a social media post, said he discussed with President Marcos Jr. opportunities to further deepen cooperation between the UAE and the Philippines. The two countries are currently negotiating a comprehensive economic partnership agreement, according to the Department of Trade and Industry, or DTI. During their meeting in Abu Dhabi, President Marcos also expressed his gratitude to President Al Nahyan for UAE's assistance in several matters, including the arrest and turnover of a sex trafficker to the Philippine authorities and the training and support for the Philippine National Police or PNP. The Philippine president also thanked the UAE for pardoning 143 Filipinos during this year's Eid al-Adha and for its humanitarian aid to victims of recent flooding in the Philippines. Around 1 million Filipinos are in the UAE, making it the second largest employer of Filipino expats after Saudi Arabia. The Philippines and the UAE are celebrating 50 years of diplomatic relations since establishing diplomatic ties on August 19, 1974.
Dateline Malacañang.
Malacañang on Tuesday called on former President Rodrigo Duterte to respect the Constitution and desist from being irresponsible by insinuating a military action against the administration of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. In a statement, Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin said Duterte's call to the Armed Forces of the Philippines or AFP is inspired by a selfish motive to allow her daughter, Vice President Sara Duterte, to take over. In a late-night online press briefing Monday, the former president sought the military and police's intervention to protect the Constitution amid what he described as a fractured government. Duterte, however, stopped short of calling for a coup. According to Bersamin, Duterte should respect the Constitution, not disobey it. Bersamin, a former Chief Justice, urged the Duterte camp to follow the proper procedure and wait for the right time to be in power, even as he vowed that the Marcos administration would not shrink from its sworn duty to govern and manage the affairs of the Filipino nation according to the Constitution and the rule of law. Duterte's tirades came following the government's move to conduct an all-out investigation against his daughter, who earlier said she has contracted someone to assassinate the president if the supposed plot to kill her were to succeed.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. returned to the country Wednesday following what he described as a short but highly productive one-day working visit to the United Arab Emirates or UAE. In his arrival statement, the president said his visit was meant to commemorate 50 years of very strong and friendly and rapidly progressing bilateral ties between the Philippines and the UAE. During his visit, Marcos said he reaffirmed the Philippines' commitment to further strengthen bilateral ties with the aim of progressing towards new spheres of engagement. Several bilateral agreements were signed during the president's visit, covering areas such as culture, energy transition, legal cooperation, artificial intelligence and digital economy, improvement of government activities, visa waiver for holders of diplomatic, special, and official passports, and investment cooperation. President Marcos also met with UAE President His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, expressing his gratitude to the UAE's care and respect for the Filipino community. The chief executive said he has invited Al Nahyan to the Philippines to continue their dialogue and explore further areas of cooperation. Let us listen to the arrival message of Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. after his visit to the United Arab Emirates.
I have just concluded a short but highly productive visit to the United Arab Emirates. We did this as we commemorate 50 years of very strong and friendly and rapidly progressing bilateral ties between our two countries. At this brief visit, I reaffirmed the Philippines' commitment to further strengthen our bilateral ties, progressing towards new spheres of engagement. I look forward to the implementation of several bilateral agreements in culture, energy transition, legal cooperation, artificial intelligence, a digital economy, the improvement of government activities, visa waiver for holders of diplomatic, special, and official passports, and investment cooperation. During my meeting with the UAE President, His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, I expressed the appreciation of the Philippines for UAE's government's care and respect for the Filipino community in the UAE. In response, the UAE President commended the Filipino people for their contribution towards UAE's development. I thank Sheikh Al Nahyan for understanding that my visit had to be cut short given the need to attend to relief and reconstruction activities in communities devastated by successive typhoons. I also conveyed appreciation for the UAE's government's constant humanitarian support for victims of these natural calamities. I invited His Highness to a return visit to the Philippines in the coming months to continue our dialogue and to explore further areas of cooperation.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. after his visit to the United Arab Emirates.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. Wednesday expressed support for Palestine's collective aspiration for enduring peace and prosperity as he joined the international community in observing the Solidarity Day with the Palestinians. In his message for the International Day of Solidarity with the Palestinian people, the president said the Philippines is gravely concerned with the catastrophic humanitarian situation in Gaza and the increasing tensions in the Middle East. The chief executive condemned all attacks against civilians and civilian structures, which have resulted in an alarming number of casualties, particularly women and children, and restricted access to food, water, medicine, and other basic needs. President Marcos said conflict can only be resolved through diplomatic engagement, dialogue, and comprehensive negotiations rooted in international law. The Philippine president also emphasized the country's call for rapid, safe, unimpeded, and sustained humanitarian access to all those in need. President Marcos hoped that all concerned parties would work toward a peaceful resolution to the conflict with a view to realizing the two-state solution. The United Nations or UN Committee on the Exercise of the Inalienable Rights of the Palestinian People held a special meeting on Tuesday to mark the International Day of Solidarity with the Palestinian People, which falls on Friday. The occasion serves as an opportunity for the international community to focus its attention on the fact that the question of Palestine remains unresolved and that the Palestinian people are yet to attain their inalienable rights as defined by the General Assembly, particularly the right to self-determination, the right to national independence and sovereignty, and the right to return. In 1977, the General Assembly called for the annual observance of the International Day of Solidarity with the Palestinian people every November 29. On that day, in 1947, the Assembly adopted a resolution on the partition of Palestine in two states, one Arab and one Jewish.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. convened Thursday his economic team at the Malacañang Palace in Manila to discuss the administration's priority projects that will be funded in 2025. Malacañang press briefer Daphne Osenya Paez told Palace reporters that the president and the country's economic managers deliberated on the key infrastructure and food security projects that will be prioritized next year. Osenya Paez did not elaborate on the specifics of the priority projects of the Marcos administration for 2025. House Speaker Martin Romualdez and Senate President Francis Escudero also joined the meeting at the palace. In a palace press briefing after the meeting at the Malacañang, Socio-Economic Planning Secretary Arsenio Balisacan said both Romualdez and Escudero assured Marcos of Congress's continued support for the current administration's high-priority projects. Balisacan said the priority projects for next year are seen to enhance food security and improve the economic climate by developing the infrastructure sector.
The meeting this morning with the president, with the economic managers, and the presence also of the speaker and the Senate president, the president stressed, and we all agreed that, and the leadership of Congress agreed that we need to ensure that the projects of this administration of the president in relation to the priority, high priority projects aimed at attaining the goals and targets in the Philippine Development Plan are achieved, and that a big part of that would be the aim to achieve or to enhance food security, to improve the economic climate by way of improving access to infrastructure and the quality of our infrastructure. So the overall agreement is that all these projects, particularly those that have been committed with our development partners, our ODA, our sources of ODA, these projects, to the extent that they are so critical to achieving the socio and economic transformation that we are aiming for, will be funded in 2025, and the president get that assurance. At the meeting, the president wanted to get the assurance that the priority projects of this administration, projects that have been so well identified as critical to achieving that social and economic transformation that it wants to achieve in the medium term, are funded in 2025, and that is sustained also in the coming years. That's all that was, and we get that assurance that Congress Congress and the administration are in sync with respect to, to what we want to prioritize on.
Socio-Economic Planning Secretary Arsenio Balisacan.
Dateline Malacañang.
And that concludes this edition of Dateline Malacañang in Review for Radyo Pilipinas World Service. This has been Bea Gaza-de Guzman.
From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.